Hi, I am Kristen Horler, founder of MOMLETA, and I am so excited to bring to you today another Mom Strong interview. So today we've got Kate Jwaskiewicz. Am I saying it correctly? It is a mouthful. I always feel like I'm going to butcher your name, so thank you for letting me practice a few times. But Kate is based in Syracuse, New York. So Kate, I'm going to let you do a little intro, let our viewers know where you live and how many kids you have, and then we'll jump into a little bit more with the questions I've got for you.
Yeah, go. Well, thank you, Kristen. So yes, I'm Kate Jwaskiewicz. A lot of people call me KJ, just much easier. My husband was AJ growing up, so just definitely a mouthful, that last name. So yeah, like Kristen said, I am in Syracuse, New York, which is basically like smack dab in the middle of New York State. I've lived here for almost 20 years. I moved here to obtain my first master's degree, so I was a youngster. And then, of course, met my husband and all kinds of things, and then just ended up staying here. I have 4 kids. I have Georgia, who's 13, Ruby, who is 11, Bernadette is 6, and Miles is 3. So we are ridiculously busy. And we're kind of at all of the different stages of children right now with, still a bit of a toddler / preschooler, school age, and then the moody teenager. So we're dealing with it all here, and it has been, times 1,000 in the last few months. But so that's just a little bit about me.
Yeah, you've definitely had a journey with homeschooling, with all the kids, plus running your business. And don't even get me started about moody teenagers. I have an 18-year-old daughter. Like, how many weeks till you go to college? But yes, I understand. And so speaking of being a business owner, how long have you been a MOMLETA franchise owner?
So this December will be 4 years that I've officially owned Then Baby Boot Camp, now MOMLETA Syracuse. And before that, I was a member for a little while, for about 4 months until I became an instructor. And then 10 months later, I took over the franchise from the previous owner.
So you started out as a member. How did you even find out about MOMLETA?
One of my best friends, Nicole, she and I have, our little ones are about 4 months apart. My 6-year-old and her now 5-year-old. And she was like, have you heard of this baby boot camp thing? Like, she and I were both always into fitness, and we used to walk together, just go, for runs and things. And she's like, have you heard of baby boot camp? You've got to come out. It's at the Parkway, which is this great park where a lot of people go, just walk, run, and do all kinds of things. And I was like, no, I'd never heard of it. So I think Bernadette was maybe just about a year old. And she and I met for a class there. And from that very first class, I was hooked, both Nicole and I. So she's actually my marketing mom now. So it literally took like that one class, and I'm like, how do I stay with this?
Wow, that is great. So now Bernadette was about a year old. How old is she now?
She's 6.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, so this has been a big part of her early years, watching you.
And Miles, my youngest, his entire life. So I was pregnant with him. I was about, maybe like 4 weeks postpartum when I took over the franchise. So this has been Miles' entire life.
Wow, that is so amazing. So what are the top 3 things that you love about being a MOMLETA franchise owner?
So definitely the number one for me is the mom community. The women that I have both met and fostered relationships with have become my best friends by far. Hands down. So that would be number 1. Number 2 is just the running the actual business, and the fact that my family and my children are a priority, both obviously to me, but on the business side of things, has been such a 180-degree turn from my previous career. And so it has just been so wonderful to be able to include my children, and also to know that, like, hey, you know what? I've got a sick kiddo. I can't work today. And that's, nobody even questions it. you
You
know.
don't have to call your boss and tell them that you're working from home today.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, some of my moms are like, come on, no, but like if I can't teach or something, but, and then I would say probably, just, the ability for me. So fitness and nutrition and health and wellness has always been a passion of mine, but it's never been something that I'm like, oh, I could be an entrepreneur in this field. Now I am. So it's like amazing that I'm a mom and I'm able to be immersed in the field of health and wellness now all at the same time. That's just my favorite part.
Oh, that's so great to hear. So if you were not a MOMLETA franchise owner, like what would you be doing if you think about like, your education, your master's degrees, like what do you think your career path would have been if this had not come into your life?
So when I was working, my career prior to taking over MOMLETA Syracuse was in fundraising. So I did fundraising for a local hospital, and I fell in love with so many different parts of health and wellness, but also hospital administration. And the hospital that I worked for had this really great employee wellness program. So I actually did a lot of volunteer work, was on a couple of committees doing that. And that is what prompted me to get my second master's degree in public health. And my specialty was in employee wellness, so program evaluation, planning and evaluation. So I was actually creating employee wellness programs for corporations in the Syracuse area when I got pregnant with Miles, and it just became a little bit too much. I was teaching, so I had my certifications in Group X and personal training, and I was teaching classes physically, but I was also doing all the programming and running all that, and it just became a lot. So I would probably still be doing that, just it would be like on my own time. And I was working for an agency at that time before I took over the business, so I would still be doing employee wellness programming, which I loved it. I loved working with people of all different demographics, and still got to do the fitness training and the personal training side of things too.
Yeah. Well, that's so interesting how things have taken a change and a shift, and who knows what your career would even look like right now with coronavirus. So speaking of, the conversation we cannot avoid, which is, I just want you to think back, before March, like let's just go back to like January, February, and I want you to paint a picture for us of what your family life looked like, what your work life looked like then, and then fast forward to like right now, what does it look like in the middle of summer? Because I understand that so many business owners, it's been a dramatic shift, and there's many other owners that I have spoken to, and entrepreneurs and moms who work part-time or full-time, where it's either changed dramatically or it hasn't changed at all. So give us a picture of what life used to be like for you, your husband, the kids, and then what it's like now.
Yeah, I would say the difference is astounding, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So I have a husband who even now works 12-hour days during the day, and then works most evenings, like after we put kids to bed. Prior to COVID-19 shutdown, he was just doing that in an office. So he would work 12 hours a day at least in an office, and then come home, dinner, baths, snuggle time, kids in bed, and then he would go back to work. He would from home, at that point. Now he's just doing that from home. With 4 kids, you have an activity every single night of the week. And it's not even like we overwhelm our kids with activities at all. I mean, so my 2 older girls are very immersed in their sports. So Ruby's a swimmer, and Georgia used to do gymnastics, and then she fell in love with volleyball. She's like super tall, and like, yeah, they love her. So, we had a game or a meet or swim practice at least every single night. And it was never, of course, on the same side of town. And then the fact that we've got a little, that big enough break in ages between our older 2 and our younger 2 was like, okay, well, we still have babies at home, essentially. Bernadette started to, my 6-year-old was, increasingly in some more activities like once a week, but it was basically our life was divide and conquer. Ships passing in the night, my husband and I, kids like, did you guys eat today? I don't even know. Like, what are we having for dinner? To fast forward now, life is definitely much more simple in that way. Business-wise for me, I'm definitely working harder to keep our community together, a community of moms together, because we're all facing multiple challenges and things and changes. I'm working out more though, moving my body more, which is making my energy levels go way up. So that's a huge positive, because I think before it was like just trying to like maintain and take care of my kids and my family and do everything and just putting myself on the back burner. And I honestly feel as though over the last few months, I have really prioritized my exercise time. And so that's been great for me. My husband still works 24 hours a day, but he's home and he does take breaks, and he will come down and be like, okay, like who needs this, who needs that for a minute? So, mommy can go like to the bathroom or take a shower, something like that. So it's interesting because we laugh about like when he goes back physically to his office, whenever that might happen, just we will have to adapt to it'll be a whole nother way of living. We don't even know what it's going to look like, because our kids probably still won't have activities,
right.
But I would say, yeah, the difference is just astounding between even like March 15th to today.
Right. I know. It's so interesting to think about that. So I love what you said about how life is just a little bit more simple. I am fascinated by the fact that you're working out more. How is that happening?
I am getting up super early and running. I actually so my girlfriend and I, that we used to run together all the time. And we were like, we're starting this again. So she and I met this morning. I went for like the longest run that I've done in the longest time. And it was so amazing. So I just get up. And the reason I can do it now is because there's so much less stress for me to like get there, run with her, then quick get home so my husband can shower and go to work, because now he doesn't have to travel. He can shower and be sitting at his desk in 5 minutes. So I'm like, I can actually relax and take time for me and run. So even if I go and meet my girlfriend somewhere, or I just run around my neighborhood, it's been that. And then for me, like I've been taking advantage of all of my instructors' classes. I mean, prior to this, like I could not get myself and my kids physically to my instructors' classes, and I didn't get to see the amazing things they were doing. Now over the last 3 months, I've been able to take advantage and really get to know my instructors' style, like their formats and everything, and I'm loving it. So I show up for their virtual classes, and so I feel like I worked out, every day, just moving my body in any way, and it's been great.
That's great. So how many virtual classes a week do you offer through MOMLETA Syracuse?
Through MOMLETA Syracuse, we have, starting this week, because we just did transition to a few in-person classes, very exciting. Yay! I think we have, for virtual classes, we decreased for a couple of reasons. One, because going in person. So I think we have 5 at the most. No, even less than that, maybe 3. And part of the reason for that is, 1, because we are offering some in-person classes, and 2, because when my moms can't be in person or take our virtual classes, we have the MOMLETA online community, and my moms are loving all of the different instructors and owners that are teaching on MOMLETA online community, because they're totally different formats. And we've cardio kickboxing and core clinics and everything. Like my moms are loving that. So I didn't feel the need to keep up the same number of virtual classes here, because my moms can really take advantage of that. And they were really ready to be in person. So
it sounds like your members have the option of, it sounds like at least 10 virtual classes a week, whether it's local virtual or through HQ.
Yep.
That's amazing. Well, now I understand why you're working out more.
Yeah.
And also, not having that commute time that you talked about, and not having that sense of urgency. And I can relate to that. That's probably been the biggest shift for me, is not having that like stress about having to be somewhere at a certain time. So since we're talking about,
even with like little ones too, like the level of mom guilt, because I felt like I was just always picking them up, putting them in your car seat, going, taking them out, putting them back in their car seat. You know what I mean? Like even that level of mom guilt is gone because I don't have to do that for them anymore.
Yeah. I love that you're looking at the positive aspects of these changes that we've all had to make. And I think my biggest thing is being incredibly aware that we don't just slip back into some of this like rat race maybe, and this high stress lifestyle that many of us were living before. So I'd love to hone in on 3 things that you actually don't miss from, before March 15th, if we're going to pick a date. Are there 3 things that, and you may have already touched on a couple, 3 things that you're like, yeah, I don't need that back in my life ever?
I definitely don't miss being literally a coordinator of all the things. I mean, I'm still like the household coordinator, but it's so much less stressful. Like, and figuring out driving and my kids and all their activities. Like, I honestly, I do not miss that. One thing I don't miss too is like, we would definitely eat out a lot more or get takeout a lot more. And we still do at least once a week. We support local businesses here because we are blessed to be able to do that. So we support like local restaurants with takeout, but like, even just going out to eat as a family. So what I don't miss is the bill along with that every time, right? So we've definitely saved a lot of money, and we're eating so much more nutritionally because we're choosing our produce, we're choosing where we're purchasing our groceries from now, and we're being very much more like cognizant of what we're feeding our family. So we've honestly, that is, that's something. So like health wise and money wise, we're definitely in the positive here.
Yeah, I gotta say, eating out with 2 kids is rough. I can't imagine eating out with 4 kids. But you're at a pivotal point when your kids order 2 kids meals. I remember that day when we were out for sushi and our son was like, I'm still hungry after finishing his kids meal. I can't remember, maybe he was 13. So you've got one coming.
Yeah, well, my oldest, she doesn't eat anything. So we actually got Panera yesterday, and all the other 3 kids ordered something like that I wouldn't necessarily have made for them for lunch. And she's like, can I just get a plain bagel? I'm like, we have bagels at home. I'm like, I am not. But yeah, so.
So let's kind of flip this around the other side. What are 3 things that you really do miss?
So I adore my husband. My Syracuse moms, they're so funny. They know me because like one of the beautiful things about being in a community where you feel very safe and comfortable and talking about everything in your life, part of that is kind of like kvetching about your husband or your partner and that kind of thing. And my mom's always joke when somebody brings something up about that their partner or their husband did, they're just like, well, Kate's just going to say how awesome her husband is, because I am very blessed. My husband is amazing. And before this, we did try to at least once or twice a month have alone time, a date night or something. And we have not been alone since this. We just don't feel comfortable. I mean, even my mother-in-law lives around the corner, and she would be happy to take the kids and everything, but like he and I don't feel comfortable like going out, like where are we going? So I miss date nights. I miss my husband, that kind of thing, just feeling like you could just decide to go and go. I miss my parents so much. They live about an hour away. Have seen them a few times, but like, again, it's just not like, I can't just like call them and say, just come this weekend. We don't, we have to plan a little bit, make sure that everybody in our house is safe. I mean, they just turned 70. They're both in extremely good health. But I still worry about them. So I just miss having them here all the time. And then I really miss going on vacation. I miss like simple, like getting away. My husband and I would go away at least once a year, just the 2 of us. And I don't know when that'll happen again. So I do miss that.
Well, this is perfect because it leads into my last question. you had $10,000 and 2 weeks to travel anywhere in the world, where would you go and who would you go with?
Oh, this is so hard. This is so hard because, again, this whole mom guilt thing. So I do love traveling with my entire family, my extended family, my parents, my husband, my brothers and sisters, our nieces and nephews. I do. As long as I can have at least a couple of nights where it's just my husband and I, or we can just go out. But I will tell you the best vacation I ever took. I'm a tropical, like I don't send me to Alaska. I'm not hiking. Please don't ask me to do touristy things. Not my gig. I want an all-inclusive resort. So before kids, my girlfriend and I, the same one that I have been running with again, we went to Antigua. It was the best week of my life, literally. Oh, besides the birth of my children. However, it was the best week of my life. Every all-inclusive resort. We went on we were in our late 20s, so it wasn't like a spring break for us or anything. So we went on an off time, and there were just like old, really nice older couples there that just thought we were the cutest things, and all the drinks, all the meals and everything were included. We read, we sat in hammocks, we sat at the beach, we walked, we didn't have to go anywhere, do anything. Right there. 2 weeks, put me in a hammock, give me a book, a little Mai Tai.
Couple massages.
My husband would lose his ever-loving mind, but I would like for him to be there. He would lose his mind, but I would love for him to be there, and that would.
Where would he lose his mind? Not working?
No, I think he's got to be doing something. Like if he didn't, I feel like I'd be like, all right, you can go into town and do like some like sightseeing, like historical stuff, and just tell me about it when you come back.
Yeah, sounds kind of like my husband.
Yeah, I just want to lay here, like just don't ask me.
Still and just read a trashy magazine. Like that sounds amazing, doesn't it?
Thank you. Yep.
Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, so you're taking your husband with you. You're not.
I am. I feel like he deserves it too.
Yeah.
I need somebody to drive me around. So yeah.
Well, that's true. That's a good point. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Kate, so much for just giving us a little insight into your life and how you're adjusting to all of our changes that we're all going through day by day, week by week. And I will post the link to MOMLETA Syracuse if moms want to check out any of your virtual classes locally or any of the events that you guys have coming up online or even a few in-person options. So thanks again so much for sharing with us today. Yep. And I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.